All right, Progressive Hoodie, y'all. We're going to get into it. Election day craziness. We have elections happening. Originally, it was supposed to be four states holding elections today, but one of them has postponed their elections. Um, so we're going to get into this. I'm reading an article from USA Today by Rebecca Morin. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced Monday afternoon that he is requesting a delay to in-person voting from Tuesday until June 2nd. And it's not a request anymore. It is happening. There was a judge that basically said, nope, you can't do it. You got to go forward with the elections. And they were like, okay, no, we're not going to do this. They found the loophole. And so they're not going to have the elections tomorrow. I mean, I think that the governor of Ohio should not have waited until the last minute. But I think ultimately he is trying to do the responsible thing. And I think the three other states, Arizona, Florida, and Illinois, should also be closing voting locations. Like this is insane. Um, those places are not closing down at all. They're going to have their locations. So what we're gonna do is go through these other states and talk about what they plan on actually doing, since they're going to actually still have elections. So we're going to start with Arizona. Arizona has had 16 cases of coronavirus as of Monday afternoon. Okay, Maricopa County, the state's most populous county where Phoenix is located, will cut about 80 polling locations on Tuesday. So here's what I don't understand, and I think the governor of Ohio was the one who said it this way, and he said it best. We can't exactly tell people that they need to stay in their homes for safety, but then they should also come out and vote. We kind of have to choose. If we're telling people that they need to stay in their homes for non-essential things, then how do we tell them to go to the polls and vote? That doesn't make any sense. And they're closing 80 polling locations. Well, then that means that there's going to be more people at all these other places because there's less places that you can actually vote. I mean, I just feel like this is going to be a real cluster freak. There are poll workers who are canceling their shifts, who are basically going, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go do that. I'm not gonna go work the polls. And that's understandable. I mean, do you know how many people you interact with in a day working these polls? And if one of them has been in contact with someone who's been in contact with someone who has it, and they're carrying it, and now they transfer it to you, even though they may think they don't have it, people, you have to really educate yourself on this and get out there. I mean, this is not one of those diseases where you're not really going to be able to transfer it until you're actually having symptoms. No, people can be asymptomatic and can still be carriers of it and can still be transferring it to other people as well. So, I mean, it's just really understandable for people to say, I'm not going to work my poll shift, because a lot of these poll workers, I ain't never seen one my age. These are all the elderly. They are some of the most at-risk people. And so the idea that you're just going to push forward and keep doing this is really not smart. In addition to not enough poll workers, there are not enough cleaning supplies to stock all polling locations, according to the Arizona Republic. Oh, great. So you don't even have cleaning supplies to actually, oh, we're going to keep the places clean. No, you're not, because you don't even, I mean, think about this for a second. When you go in to vote, if you're like me and you're lucky to live in an area where is a bunch of older people and a bunch of white people, let's just be frank, and it's suburban, so then you go in and you're in and out in a matter of minutes. I go to my polling place, I'm in, out, done. Okay? But if you are, like we saw so many of these college students that are in these extremely long lines, or if you're in one of these places where they have shut down places, polling locations, like, I don't know, Arizona now, who's closed 80, I mean, potentially you're talking about being in long lines. The guidelines are you're supposed to stay, what, 3 feet away from other people, or 6 feet? Are they going to make sure there's 6 feet between each person in this line? Come on, give me a break. People are going to be in lines. They're going to be too close to each other in these lines, and then they're going to be getting in there. A lot of these places are voting on machines. So you're touching the machine, and then the next person is touching the machine, and then the next person. How is this sanitary in any way? And if I'm reading a report right here, according to the Arizona Republic, that's telling me that they're not going to have enough cleaning supplies for all of these places, this is a disaster waiting to happen. But of the continuing reading here, but of the 151 polling locations that remain in the county, voters will be allowed to vote from any location. Now that's a good thing. I think it's good that they're not requiring people to go to a specific place. People can vote anywhere. Um, but I mean, there's still going to be some long lines longer in some places than others. This to me seems like an absolute disaster waiting to happen. I just don't understand why you would, during a pandemic, you cannot delay the election a few months during a pandemic. What is wrong with y'all? Are we that desperate to get this over with? You gotta ask yourself why. Um, Folks should come on election day if they want to vote. No, we should stay home if we want to be safe and not die. You people have lost your minds. It's going to be safe, and there will be many places to vote. How is it going to be safe if you don't have enough cleaning supplies for all these places? Those machines should be getting disinfected and wiped down in between every single individual that uses the machine. You should be using a fresh disinfectant wipe behind every person. If you don't have the supplies to do that, I'm not going to go into there feeling confident that this is a safe thing for me to do. Also, are we going to have gloves? Are they going to distribute gloves to people? Like, what are they going to be doing? Are they going to be keeping people 6 feet apart? Come on, you know this stuff. I mean, we'll find out from people that vote today. I'm sure you'll be able to get on Twitter and find reports about how sanitary these places are. That's going to be real interesting to find out. In another issue, the Maricopa County Recorder on Friday um, was stopped from mailing ballots to registered Democrats who had not yet voted in Tuesday's primary. So, I mean, so now they're like, oh, yep, nope, nope, can't continue sending out ballots. Nope, no more voting by mail, no more ballot. I mean, how ridiculous is this? So, I mean, we can't even do the early voting, can't even ballot vote. You have to reduce the amount of people who do that. Now more people have to show up to the polls. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. County Recorder Adrian Fontes said Friday that his first concern is to protect the health of the voters and staff who work in the polling places and maintain the integrity of the election. Our elections have no integrity as far as I'm concerned. What I saw in 2016 and what I've seen this year, integrity, that's an absolute joke to have that word anywhere close to the same sentence as our elections when you are referring to elections in the United States right now. So I don't even want to hear this garbage. But aside from that, we're talking about a safety issue. You guys don't have enough supplies to effectively clean these things the way they're supposed to. And then you're going to tell me that your primary concern is these elections being safe. No, it's not. Your primary concern is getting them over with. If your primary concern was the safety and the health and the well-being of your citizenry, you postpone the elections. But you're not doing that because that's not what you're concerned about. Okay, let's continue. Anything we can do to minimize human interaction in the polling places is what we must do. That's real specific. I like that. That'll be good. That'll work. That will work. Let's continue. But Arizona Attorney General Mark Brunovich, okay, and Fontes cannot unilaterally rewrite state election laws and filed a lawsuit against the recorder seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent him from sending out ballots. Sounds like somebody was trying to get in here, didn't it? No, okay. Anyway, a Maricopa County Superior Court judge on Friday night agreed with Brunovich and granted the restraining order, stopping Fontes from mailing ballots. So actually, I'm wrong. Fontes was actually trying to do the right thing. He's trying to mail out the ballots. And so that actually, I agree with him on that. Like, why this freaking country? Let's go on to Florida. So here's what's going on in Florida. There are at least 155 cases of the coronavirus in the state, and at least 5 people have died. 155 people have tested positive for it. I was at a rehearsal last night where people were giving out hand sanitizer to everybody, and people were like, "Oh, don't worry, I don't have the coronavirus." And someone else was like, I don't have it either." And someone else was like, "I don't have it either." And during the rehearsal, and I kind of was like, I looked out at them and I was like, "Excuse me, none of you know that you don't have it because none of you have been tested for it. It can be lying. It can be something that you have while you are asymptomatic. So none of you can say that you don't have it. Now put that hand sanitizer on and don't come over here near me because you don't know what you have. You don't have symptoms, is what you're telling me, but that doesn't mean anything. There are people who are asymptomatic who are carrying it right now. So anyway, this is just 155 cases that we know of. Remember, we have been really short supplied overall in the country. We've been in short supply for these tests, and we don't even have those instant tests that other countries have where you can get that answer back quickly. I mean, we're having to wait what, like 72 hours before you can even find out. I mean, this is ridiculous what's going on in this country. 5 people have died. Florida, the senior citizen capital of America, and they're like, yeah, I think we're good. We'll keep having the elections. Okay, you're morons. Let's continue. Florida officials have moved voting locations across the state from areas where those who could be vulnerable to coronavirus live. Um, in Leon County, home to the state capital, which is Tallahassee, 2 precincts at assisted living facilities were moved to minimize possible exposure to vulnerable older people. Okay, that's good. In Broward County, a dozen precincts out of 421 have been moved, most of them from retirement homes to other public locations such as libraries, elementary schools, or community centers. And look, that's great. I'm glad that we're moving places, around and getting them out of retirement homes. But I mean, older people are more at risk, but they're not the only ones that are at risk. There are 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds in New York intubated right now who need who have had really really adverse reactions to contracting this virus, and it has had a terrible effect on their health. So it's not like, oh well, if I'm younger I'm automatically safe. That is actually not the case at all. Let's continue. Miami-Dade County will keep 6 precincts at senior facilities so voters who live there can vote on site, um, according to the Miami Herald. But all the other voters assigned to that precinct must vote at newly assigned locations. So that's a good thing. So what they're saying is, okay, if you're assigned to this particular precinct, you're not going to be voting there. You are going to be voting somewhere else, while people at the this senior living facility or whatever will only be for the people that live there to vote there, so that they don't have to try and go out somewhere else. That's great, but are the senior people that live there also going to be the same people running the polls? I think not. So it's still going to be some outsiders coming in there. There's still going to be poll workers. We want to protect the poll workers from contracting it, but what if the poll workers have done already contracted it? What if they done already got it? I mean, why can't we just follow the CDC guidelines, use our freaking common sense, and do what they're asking us to do? If they're saying, look, it needs to be no more than like what? The recommendation now is like 10 people, right? You're supposed to be keeping these kind of gatherings to 10 people or less. Are you going to be able to ensure that when you got a long line out the door full of people? Are you going to make sure that they're spaced 6 feet apart? They're not going to be doing all that stuff. I mean, wow, this is just really, really stupid. And if we find out that there is an uptick in coronavirus in these states after this, we know who to thank for it. Our recommendation would be, if there is a polling location in an assisted living facility, allow the residents to vote there. That's what the Florida governor was saying. But maybe the general public should have the option to be directed to go to a different polling location. Some counties in Florida were also experiencing a drop in poll workers. In Palm Beach County, 762 people said that they would not be working as poll workers, and that's as of Sunday night. Okay. There are still currently 2,848 poll workers. Many of the poll workers in that county are over 60. I already told you that. Like, I've never seen a young poll worker. We have actual work to do. We're like working, not poll working. Some of us barely have enough time to go in and vote. So because they're older, they are at risk of the coronavirus. It's just a fact. In addition, election officials said that they will provide hand sanitizer, clean voting equipment, and additional training to poll workers. Great. That sounds like that'll be more than sufficient, as opposed to just waiting when things are actually ticking down in a different direction. You're going to go ahead while this thing is still on the rise in this country and go ahead and continue with this. This makes so much sense. I'm okay. I really am okay. um. Oh, I like this part. Election officials are encouraging voters to vote early or during the off-peak hours of 1 p.m. to 4. Come here, election officials. Come here. Come here. Let me explain to you. Come here. Yep, come here. Come look. Yep, come closer. Let me explain why they're off-peak hours. Come here. Come here. Let me explain something to you. They're 1 to 4 are off-peak hours because we're working. Now go away. I don't want your corona. I mean, honestly, it just some stuff just doesn't make sense. Some stuff just is obviously just so stupid. Let's go forward to see what Illinois is doing. Illinois. As of Monday morning, there are 93 confirmed cases of corona in Illinois. Like some other states voting Tuesday, the biggest change is moving polling locations from senior living facilities. In Chicago alone, 168 of 2,069 polling places have been moved. Chicago Board of Elections Chair Maricel Hernandez reminded voters in a news conference Sunday to check the city's Board of Elections website. So yeah, this is the thing. You're moving locations all over the place. So there's going to be mayhem. There's going to be people not knowing where they're supposed to vote. It just is what it is. You're closing down locations, which means the same amount of people that are going to want to vote are going to be using fewer places, or maybe this will just end up suppressing the vote altogether. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. It could be that people are just going to say, you know what? To heck with it. To heck with it. I'm not going to go vote. I'm not going to put myself in danger. And we could see we could see less people showing up to vote as a result of this. I don't know, but this is crazy. Oh, they want them to practice social distancing while they vote. Chicago. Chicago. Okay. That'll happen. The Chicago Board of Elections said vote by mail application have also hit an all-time high, which is fantastic. With over 117,000 applications that they've received. Um, Early voting hours in some areas have also been extended. They should be extended in all areas. The Chicago Board of Election extended hours for the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before Tuesday's election. Early voting will also be available on Monday. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said Sunday that we're going to go ahead with it. Great. But we've been extra careful at all of our polling places. Everybody is practicing good hygiene. He doesn't know that. And we're making sure that it's safe for people to come vote. I mean, it's just so stupid. Somewhere I saw in one article somebody was like, people voted during the Civil War, and so we're going to keep voting. That's great logic. That's great logic. Deuces.